Hello and welcome to another edition of the R Street Fighter podcast, RSF Radio. I have almost forgotten how to do this intro. How could that have happened? I'm your host, Joe Monday, and this is the podcast where we talk about what's been going on the front page of our Street Fighter or the FGC at large. But today I have a very special guest from the Ohio FGC, Ultimate Vitality. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Joe. How about yourself?
I've been having back issues. I feel like my old age and my posture is finally catching up with me. All of the office sitting that I do and the slumping down is just it's paying off in the back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. Are you sure? Is it the office sitting or is it the SPDs you're getting?
It's mostly that. It is just crushing on the spinal cord, honestly. But the good news is that I think in the future I'll have Dr. Kate come on at some point. I have that in the lineup down the line, but I'm excited for that. But that's the future. That's another guest. That's for another time. We're here to talk about you and what you have going on. So at this point, at the beginning of the show, I like to give my guests an opportunity to really pitch whatever they have going on. So if there's anything that you have going on outside of what we probably plan on talking about, now's the time. Let people know your socials. What's up?
Okay. So for those who don't know, I am Ultimate Vitality. You can follow me on Twitter at DAREALQUAZI. So that's the real Quasi. Don't ask where that name came from. You can also follow me on Twitch. I do stream fairly frequently. You can follow me at AL_Ultimate Vitality. I also have a YouTube channel where I'm starting to bring out more content. I recently just put up a video of me and my friends playing Uno, and my friend cheats. But you can just search up Ultimate Vitality or youtube.com/Ultimate Vitality. But the only other thing I really have going on is I also do the Midwest Movement podcast, which is a part of the Midwest Movement, and that's also on my page on my YouTube channel. So,
what is the Midwest Movement? Who's all on that show? Would you like to get into that for a little bit?
So far, the one person I know who was behind the Midwest Movement is my good friend Zach in a Box. Mm-hmm. So we were just talking about it, and I mean he was talking about it and he made it a thing, and I said, well, what can I do to contribute? What can I do to if it's anything such as maybe promote it or do any of this stuff? He said, do whatever you feel. And I said, well, how about a podcast? It's the simplest, easiest thing I can do. And so far I've got 2 episodes, one that's just strictly about me and one where I was talking with another Ohio native, Core Jam, and we were talking about the Ohio FGC and its website and stuff like that.
Word. That's awesome. Zach in a Box, good dude. He's good people. No, that's awesome. Shout out to the Midwest Movement. I always hear rumblings of the Midwest Movement. Is it coming? Is it coming to the coast? Who can say? But no, that's cool. What we're here to talk about, though, is your involvement with the Ohio fighting game community, maybe even the Cleveland FGC, and your involvement with the... here's the thing, is that I don't even know how to introduce it because the messaging on this shit is non-existent, actually. Is it Amateur Street Fighter League or Street Fighter Amateur League or Street Fighter League Amateur?
I think it's Amateur Street Fighter League.
Okay.
Pretty sure it is.
Okay. The way that I see it, that's how it is. But in my mind, it never makes sense to say it that way. And also, there's just not really a whole lot of information about that. But could you maybe briefly describe what your involvement is here and what the league is?
So when the league first started, it was about maybe 5 or probably 6 regions. You've got, let me see, I pulled up the notes here. You have the phase 1 tryouts, which were each tournament organizer will pick 5 players plus backups and stuff like that. And then those phase 1 stuff was every event that the TOs chose would use as a qualifier. So if one person won that tournament, they would qualify for the spot. So, and there are five events across all Ohio and across all those regions, and we've garnered five players, five great players. Like we have Carlos FL and Team Atlanta. There's let's see, FGC Jesus also on Team Atlanta, Brutus, Flux Waves, and Team Canada. We have a lot of good players that you don't normally see when you you've heard of, but you don't normally see on the regular.
Yeah, people who do extremely well in their own communities, but don't necessarily have access to a main stage to get that like global recognition, let's say.
Exactly, and this is a really good opportunity for those kinds of players. So, and yeah, that's what it is. So now we're in the preseason where we're just where everyone's preparing to getting used to the team format, and trying to just get used to everything. For those who don't know, the Amateur Street Fighter League is done online. So we all meet up in one centralized location. We play on PS4, and we are doing battle on the Lord CFN netcode.
This is interesting. This is an interesting point because this is something that this is actually a model that I have had in my mind for a while, but wanted to apply it at like a high school level. Kind of like how, you have different regions, right? Like even with this amateur league, which is like also, by the way, run by Super League, sort of. We can talk. Yes. We can get into their affiliation with this and what they're actually like, quote unquote, doing here in a minute. But like, this ranges from, there's places in Florida. I do want to kind of run down where this is at. Florida, both Tampa and Miami. You have San Juan, Puerto Rico, Atlanta, Georgia, Toronto, Canada. It's actually funny to me that it's just Toronto, Canada, as if like Canada is is one region, and like that's funny. There's Providences there. Come on, get real. Phoenix, Arizona, Hammond, Louisiana, Van Nuys, California, Brooklyn. I've never said this out loud before. Wasilla, Arkansas, Houston, Texas, Boston, Cleveland, which is your area, San Francisco, Las Vegas, and Plymouth. Those are all of the regions what are involved in this. There's a couple of key ones missing, I would say. There's no like Chicago present here, which is like a big like. Where's that? Where's the Midwest? As people might think of it. But regardless, though, so this is interesting to me. The teams have been, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the teams from each region have been decided. Am I correct in thinking that?
Yes.
Okay. So now that all the teams have been decided, which were like, there were qualifiers earlier, which there were also like rules to get into the qualifiers. Yeah. Of like, you can't have been on the regular SFL. You couldn't have had X amount of CPT points, which kind of I think I brought up on this show before, but like was kind of fucked up for people who just registered for the last chance qualifier, or like that I'm sorry, not last chance qualifier, but the North American Regional Finals, because there wasn't enough people, and it being a super premiere gave people who entered it, like if they entered, they were basically broke that number. So it was kind of fucked. But
no, because I'm reading it now and it says the player eligibility. You said the North American Regional Finals or the last chance qualifier?
I believe that it was, which they did fix this. It was one thing that like people brought up, and because once we saw it, I brought it to, at least me and other people brought it to the attention of the people who are running it, of like, hey, this should be addressed to account for those points that were divvied out for people who just entered the tournament. It was one of those things where if you entered and got a bye round one, or your opponent didn't show up, you automatically had enough points that would make you not be able to enter this particular tournament. So that concern was addressed, and those points were removed from like the point total. Regardless, that is all way too confusing just to explain that the teams have been decided and you show up online to face off against people. How deep are we right now into the season?
We're yesterday Cleveland, the exhibition between Team Cleveland and Team Atlanta happened, and also I believe Team Canada, and I don't remember what the other team was for yesterday, but they both went on. They both were yesterday. To very polarizing results. I'm not polarizing, to very bad results, because when in our experience in Team Cleveland and Team Atlanta, it was laggy on both ends. Like right. I believe they were saying that they wanted that it was so laggy that Team Atlanta, I guess, stopped streaming in order to fix it, and we changed different hosts. We tried to figure out who could do what, and it just did not get better. And there's a video that I believe Brutus put up on Twitter, and it was just unplayable from one of the ends.
Yeah, even with this, limited to the North American region, basic Street Fighter 5 does not play well within the region. It gets fucked up. I will ask this: was there a possibility to apply something like the Altmore patch in something like this? Last night, after everything was said and done, we suggested it, but there's a whole bunch of hoops that we have to go through. Like a concern came up, like how can we know if someone's using the Ultimate patch, or how can we know if someone is using the Fluffy patch? Right. And also it's just a thing of like trying to just stay like, use the integrity of the file, so that way there's nothing changed, and we might have to get approval and stuff like that. But again, I don't know what's going on, because there is a Discord for just the TOs that are discussing those things. Right. But from what my TO tells me, they're just discussing it and trying to figure something out, so that way it's not as bad as it's been. Right. And I'm sympathetic with that, because the other end of this is that these are people who are basically volunteers with their respective communities who, if you wanted to do something like use the Ultimate patch, then you'd actually have to bring in another PC separate from the one you're probably streaming the event from, because you want this for your, like, I understand why you would want to stream this and have it for your community. It could be useful later on. It could be a means to, it would just be useful to have that. Yeah. So you're bringing another PC. Now you have everyone's controller needs to work with that PC, and which is a whole other mess in and of itself. You have to make sure that everything's running. It gets messy. It's not clean. It's
not optimal.
It really isn't, unless there were standards set by like a governing body, let's say, such as Capcom or Super League, which from what I've really read about it, doesn't necessarily seem to be the case, and there might be reasons for that, which I don't know if we can really get into at this point. But the point is, not running on patches, and that's
it's just not. It's not good for the players. It's
right.
That's a frustrating experience.
Yeah, that's the Olympic experience, as we like to call it.
Oh no, I forgot the Olympic.
Yeah, don't you forget about that. You are living the Olympic lifestyle right now.
This is the Olympic lifestyle. Oh no.
I mean, unless things change, we don't know. But that's a whole other conversation. Which I'll probably need to get someone on to talk about the Olympics at some point who knows what the fuck is going on, because it seems to be nobody at this point.
Actually, I think Ono tweeted a recent picture of, the Blanca-chan figure and him at the Intel, I guess, headquarters. Okay. I think. So I don't know. He just I'll find a tweet somewhere.
Nah, don't bother looking for it, because I don't know how much I trust that son of a bitch. Anyway, but here's the thing though, is that it's going. Who's on the Cleveland team? Who can we look out for in that region? We have OH True God. He is a great Dawson player. We have One Life to Play's Hitman, really dangerous Bison. We have Frame Perfect Sebman. He's a really good but kind of low key birdie main. And there's also me, Ultimate Vitality. I play Jury, and I am
Actually, let's go back. True God is from Cleveland. Hitman's from Columbus. Sedman is also from Columbus. I am from Cincinnati, contrary to popular belief that they think I'm from Cleveland. And then last but not least, we have Core Jam, who is from Akron, and he plays Laura. So essentially, we have, it's Team Cleveland, but it's essentially Team Ohio.
Right. How, do you then need to drive to a centralized location to then compete? Okay, which is, in your case, I would assume Cleveland, or are you all driving to a separate location?
It's actually Game Arena in Columbus.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Word. All right. So that kind of explains the how. And I don't know. It's one of those things where conceptually I like this idea. It kind of reminds me of, but what we need though in this scenario is something like are you familiar with Max Preps?
No, I am not actually.
Okay, that's fine because it's a high school sports stat tracking thing that like all high school sports that they submit all of their weekly scores and results to for basically every sport. It even goes to like chess, and they keep track of that based on who's from what region, and each team has their own like little like web page that's like here's who's on the roster this year, or here's the head coach, here's where they meet, here's like a highlight reel even will come up on their own like personalized pages. And that is something that I think would be incredibly useful for the fighting game community specifically, because we do have, just like this amateur Street Fighter League is showing, there are regions that it's fun to play against other regions and pit your region against another region. It is something that is I don't know, it's that is like you're getting into like some old spirit there of what the community really is. So is that what it feels like to you on your end as a competitor?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly how it feels to me, because I've always wanted to do things like team battles. Like, you remember back in the day in Street Fighter 4, they had the 5v5s in Canada Cup and stuff like that, and they had them regularly. And it's like, I feel like now you rarely see that kind of stuff. And then again, back in the old days of Marvel 2, you've had like Philly against Jersey, and then Jersey against New York. It's just those little small things kind of bring the community together, and it lights a fire between each community, you know what I mean, to strive and do better than the next region. Yeah,
because then you get, which it sometimes happens, here's like the thing that happens often is that you'll have a region, and if you don't actively reach outside of your own region, you get one shark that wants to be the main shark, and he will not help, or he or she will not help anyone else improve or get better, because they want to be the shark.
Yeah.
You start traveling to other areas as a team. Now there's impetus to say, okay, now we have to build each other up. Now we're going somewhere. Even if you're not going somewhere, in this case, you're traveling to like a centralized location to then play online against another team from another region. There's intrinsically a storyline there, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of like how we kind of, I'm not gonna say how we kind of did it, but I mean, like, it's just when the rules on this, it doesn't say that anyone, like, it's just specifically for phase 1. I'm talking about it's not specifically Ohio players can play. Like, if someone from, let's say, I'm trying to think, let's say Detroit or someone wants to come to an event and qualify for SFL, they are more than welcome to. Like, for example, Footwork is a great case. He showed up to Raj of the Garage. He showed up to Equalizer 2, and he was, Footwork is very scary. Urian Bison, very scary, player. And so it's like, okay, it's like, well, we gotta, if we want this to, be an Ohio team, we gotta get Footwork.
You gotta snipe him. You gotta get him on the squad.
So then it's like, like, we love Footwork. Like, Footwork's a great dude, but I mean, it's just like, and it's unfortunate that like Chicago and Michigan, great regions who have outstanding players, they didn't get their, a chance at this.
Yeah.
But
And to be clear, we don't really know why. And I'm kind of timid to ask, and I don't know if we can really get into it. I don't know if we should get into it, but like how did this even come about? Like, who was approached? Did people approach Super League, or did people approach Capcom? Who was like the point person on this? There's a lot of there's just so many unknowns, and there's so not so much, but like so little information about the event. Like I'm on Super League's site right now, and they have there's no information about it except for who is running the events and where they are. There's no team listings. There's no updated scores. There's none of that currently. But I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I don't know who was the point person. All I know is that one of the TOs asked me, like, hey, because, like I said, I'm from Cincinnati. He said, hey, can you get me in touch with your Cincinnati TO, and we're going to see if we can, work something out. And I'm like, okay, cool. I sent him, my TO, and that was it from there.
Word. I don't know. I'm befuddled. I know I'm like at a loss for words here, and I'm stammering and staggering all over myself just because I feel like, as the moderator of our Street Fighter and someone who has their finger on the pulse of the fighting game community, specifically within the Capcom-centric fighting game universe, all of this is out of left field. I guess I'm just flabbergasted that there's nothing, and the lack of support from like a top level down to what this stuff is. Like, why isn't... I'll put Capcom Fighters Twitter account on blast, because there's no major events happening yet. The next CPT event, for all we know, isn't until next month with Brussels Challenge. So we're in this downtime right now where this would be the perfect opportunity to pitch something like, hey, on a local level, here's this community. Here's their side of the tournament. Or here's this. There's opportunity here of people who might be hungry for fighting game content that just
aren't getting it.
Yeah.
And again, and that's why you see, at least with Team Cleveland, most of us, like, we do this because we have the passion. We love the game, we love the community. So what you see us doing is we're promoting it constantly. And what I did, I went above and beyond, and I made a promotional video for the team, and it showed like what tournaments they won and stuff like that. And it was just a really good feeling to finally like see that that kind of thing be made. Yeah. And it also showcased all the other tournaments. It showcased other players and stuff like that. And we're not, like you said, we're not getting that kind of coverage from either Super League or Capcom Fighters. So we just took it upon ourselves to just say, hey, here's this, here's that. Make sure you come to these events. Here's this video of all the team members and, stuff like that. And so that's why, we're only doing it because we want to do it. Like, we're not getting paid to do all of that.
It's for the love of the game. And that's one of the main reasons why you're on the show today. And I feel after this episode airs, I want to send I've said this before on the show, but I want to have everyone who is a part of this on the show at some point, or at least one representative from each area on the show at some point, just to, again, highlight those regions and highlight this event. So after this, when the show drops, I'm going to kind of send that out there to everyone, just to kind of put it on everybody's radar, and also let everybody know that if you're running your tournament that night, or maybe not tournament, but your event or your match, tag at RedditSF on Twitter.com, and I will happily and gladly retweet that and share it, because it's not being shared by anybody else. Let me ask you this, because I don't know if this is a thing or not, but is there a hashtag tied to this event on Twitter or something like that? Something that people could follow? Do you know?
Do you mean like the SFL or?
Yeah, like is it like amateur SFL or just hashtag SFL? If people are posting that way, or is there like a?
I think in terms of what I've done, I don't think there's an actual hashtag for it. But what I've done, I've just hashtag like amateur, like hashtag amateur, and then hashtag SFL. So I don't know for sure if there's actually is one, but
that's fair. I'm just kind of, again, I'm grasping at straws, just something to reach out to, or something that like might notify me of like, oh, this is live right now, because again, there's no schedule to this that's publicly available, so it's like we'll see. But other than that, though, that's probably enough for the different locals fighting off against each other in the amateur league. But let's talk about actual locals and your experience with the Ohio fighting game community. What's that been like for you?
So I'm gonna be honest. Thanks to the Amateur Street Fighter League, like I've been able to go to the different tournaments just from December to now, and like I said, it's only been a month. So I got to finally go to Raj the Garage, which is run by Tokyo Attack and good president, no good citizen.
Former our Street Fighter sponsored player, no good citizen.
An official Daigo killer online, apparently.
That fucking guy.
This man taunted Daigo at the beginning of the match, and Daigo was like, "What are you doing?"
That motherfucker out there gallivanting all over Japan, getting in God knows what. That son of a bitch. He's a terrible representative. I need to call your call your representatives, folks. Let them fucking know.
Tame him, Joe. But yeah, so I was able to compete at Raj's Garage. Finally, after been saying I was gonna go, and procrastinate it, and then never ended up going. I went to Equalizer 2, which was the new Toledo monthly that's been going on. That's been going on for about 3 months. 3 months now. They just finished up Equalizer 3, and they've been making like great numbers. Like I think this recent one, they had got well over 150 plus entrants, and
which is wild.
Yeah, that was wild. Like because they recently started doing like FGC weeklies, I guess a few months ago, like around the same time they wanted to start their monthly, and they're just getting numbers and numbers and numbers. It's really great, and they have great competition too. So because they're right next door to Michigan, so like there's that. And I went to Dayton for Second Impact, and I also went to Cleveland for the Last Chance qualifier. By that time, I already qualified, but I wanted to go and and support all my friends, support all my fellow Ohio FGC members. But since we're on the tangent about Ohio stuff, I haven't mentioned my own scene. So
yeah, you've named every other region around
every other one, right?
Ohio except for Cincinnati. But tell me about your chili. What's up?
So our chili is godlike. Our chili is amazing. If I had to pick though, because there's two of them, there's Skyline and there's Gold Star. If I had to pick, Gold Star is most definitely the best one, the better of the two.
That's fair. All I hear is the Skyline chili, and for what I know, it's trash. It's trash tier. You're telling me Gold Star though.
Gold Star is the way to go. Skyline's good because it's still chili, it's still good, but I prefer Gold Star because it's Gold Star.
Preparation method wasn't like over fucking spaghetti or some shit like that. I don't know how the fuck you roll over there. I don't know.
Oh boy,
that's wild shit.
You say it. Wait till you have one. Wait till you have like a cheese pony. Oh my god, you're gonna love it.
Fair.
What is the explosion of cheese, chili, hot dog, and bun in my mouth? Oh my goodness.
I won't disparage the name, having not imbibed myself, but that's
yeah. So yeah, Cincinnati. We have a monthly series that's been going on for about a year. It's a Queen City Fights, held at Arcade Legacy, which is a mall in an arcade in a dead mall.
Gotta love it.
Dead malls, man. You gotta
love
it.
Dead mall aesthetic is like,
but it's good though because it it just makes the environment that much more, it seems more bigger, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, but yeah, we have Queen City fights. Also, in next month is Makai World Cup, where if you're into old fighting games like Marvel 2, CVS 2, Third Strike, and all that, and Vampire Savior, the guys behind that are Vampire Arcadia. They ran the old school room combo breaker last year, and it's a really great event. It's a really big celebration for just retro gaming in general. I believe they always team up with Too Old Too Furious, and it's a great event. So if you're into that kind of thing, please think about stopping by to Makai.
No, that sounds awesome, actually. From what I know about those people, which I've met them, good people. If they were involved in the retro arcade room at Combo Breaker,
that is what the VMP guys specialize in. They love it.
Yeah, from all reports, that was really fucking rad last year, and I don't know if that's going to happen this year. There's still like nobody necessarily knows what's going on with Combo Breaker. Like Rick doesn't even seem to know rightfully. But that's, hey man, like I don't put that one on him. That's like a Pheasant Ridge kind of deal. Yeah, they kind of did him dirty in a way. But regardless, we'll get back into that whenever that comes around that time of year. We'll get into the Combo Breaker stuff. But other than Cincinnati, is that all that's going on?
Kent State has a weekly. There's a lot going on. Since there's a lot going on, there's another segue. We also have, thanks to Core Jam, who was also on Team Cleveland. He made the OhioFGC.com website. It comes with it's a little fairly simple website. It has the events, it had like current events, it has the tournament organizers and social media. So you'll be able to find like if you want to know where an event is in, let's say, Columbus, you'll scroll down, you'll see Columbus, you'll see the Keist, you'll click his name, you'll find out what's going on. And there's also a calendar that you can also sync into your phone. So if you want to know, okay, what's a weekly going on Tuesday, am I nearby it? You find out like, okay, there's an event at 6 p.m. at Donato's in Columbus. You'll go up to Columbus, and
man, that's fucking rad. Yeah, you'll definitely have to share that link with me so I can put it in the show notes for anyone or even anyone who's visiting that region. That could be a beneficial tool to have, or if you are from a different region, something that you might want to copy for your own region and have that be a useful tool for the people who you can most impact.
Right.
That's fucking rad.
And yeah, and then also, before I forget, they also have the social media. So it even has like the Discords for the Discords, Facebook groups, and Twitters for literally every FGC scene in Ohio. So like Air Dash Academy, Ohio FGC for Facebook, and like One Life to Play, that kind of stuff. They have, it's literally everything's there if you need it.
That's awesome. And that will, again, I'll share that link in the show notes. But other than that, anything else going on Cincinnati or with locals that you want to get out before we kind of move into the back half of the show?
One thing I really want to touch on is supporting your locals more.
Now, what do you mean by that exactly?
What I mean by that is most people say when they support your locals, I think they only mean show up, just show up and come play. As someone who can't reliably, or just can't go to his weekly or his monthly event, every time, it's like, well, I can't support you guys that way. I can support you guys by doing this, like doing things such as promoting your event or promoting the event, or sitting in the chat room and hosting it if you have, if you do, or hosting the stream, doing that kind of stuff. Like you can do more than just show up. There's more you can do. Like if you like making a video for a team that you just got on because that's something you want to do. Talking about me,
right.
But there's more you can do than just show up. That's just what I mean. Like I said, I think just when people say, "Oh, support your locals," I think they just mean show up and play and be a part. You can be a part of it by doing more that you would versus the stuff you can't do. Like if you can't show up reliably, share a tweet. Remind people that this is happening, that an event is happening.
Yeah, and I think that a kind of like an unseen thing in that is that if you get involved in that extra sort of way, you also get to flex that muscle. For example, like you cutting a video, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of get to flex that muscle a little bit and maybe improve that skill a little bit more and use that down the line for something else. It's just getting involved in those ways. Get involved in the ways that interest you to benefit your community, which will in the long run benefit you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like I say, if you know you can't show up to the like I've done this before. Like let's say I'm not able to make the event, but I can drop off a setup, right? I'll bring my setup. Just let me know when you guys are done, or here, just take it to your house. I'll come by and get it the next night. Doing stuff like that. Or if someone needs help setting up, I can help set up, but I won't be able to attend. You can support your locals that way. You can do a lot more than just like it's recommended to show up. I'm not saying don't show up. You can show up, but
Yeah, I think that's also something that we should probably say is that if you do just want to show up and that's how you want to interact with your community, like that's fine. We're not trying to shame you if that's like your level of involvement. Like there's no shame, but maybe if there's a little bit of, if you got the fire in, if the spirit of Marvel lives in you, maybe just ask your TO what you can do for them. Just that, and they will definitely have something for you. There will be something to do. Trust me on that.
There is always something to do.
There's always a need for more people to do. I don't know what that something is, but there will be something. I guarantee it.
Yeah, like it could be anything, and it also helps ease the tension off your local TOs, and it just like let's say they're having a busy week because it's the week of the event, they're trying to get everything together and they can't promote as much. So if I'm not gonna say it's up to you, but if you really want people to come out to your events, you should be like, all right, this is the least I can do for our events, because that's what I do on my stream. Like I do for the for Equalizer, for the SFL events, for Makai. I literally have chat commands. I have the graphics, and I just set time aside to say, hey, if you're in this area, go to these events. Just and even like I said, Toledo and them, Columbus, Cleveland, those aren't my locals. Those aren't quote unquote my scene. But I see the Ohio FGC as one big scene, one big family that is just spread out too far. You know what I mean? Because the Midwest is one big place.
And I think it's safe to say that your involvement and your contributions to that community have actually benefited you greatly on the other side of it. Like you've been able to benefit from each of these regions in specific ways, which is it's all the more reason to get involved.
And like I said, it's not because I'm trying to do this for the quote unquote Twitter fame. I don't care about Twitter fame.
Right.
I just want people to come to these events and have a good time and figure out what like you said, how there's these players in these unknown quote unquote regions that are like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And then someone from Ohio says, oh, that's True God. He's really good. He's really good, really good sim player. And he, always mauls me with Stand Me and Punch. But
there's a story behind that guy,
Yeah, there's more than just, oh, who is he? He's just some random Dawson, and then they get beat and they're salty. It's like, no, he's pretty good. He's sharp. But I just want people to find out those stories without just, oh, that's someone from Ohio. He's a nobody.
Right. I think the other thing that you touched upon, which I think is important to point out, because it's something that when I was young and dumb, something that I didn't like. I don't know why I didn't think about this. It's just something that it wasn't on my mind. But there's a huge issue of scale and the number of people and the resources put into marketing for for big productions, right? Like you put the Super Bowl on, right? There's thousands upon hundreds of people who are working together to make that event go, and thousands of things and like tons of money to go off and promote that thing, right? And you think, oh, because it has all this money, it must be the best that there, like this is like the pinnacle of a thing. It's like, no, it just has the most like loudspeakers, right? Because they paid for them.
The most pizzazz, yeah.
Yeah. So on a local level, though, there's exciting stuff that happens, right? There's exciting locals that are happening every week with exciting matches that have moments that are explosive and interesting to watch. But you have to understand that the person who's running that event is probably also in charge of marketing for them, who's also in charge of running the stream, who's also in charge of tournament organizing. And when you put that all on one person, there's this like huge myth of like one person can do it all, where it's like, actually, fuck all that noise.
No, they can't.
they super cannot. And some people are good at delegating tasks to people who, like yourself, would come up and say, what can I do? But having people who are just involved in like little ways of just, like you said, just promoting it. Like tag the R Street Fighter account in any kind of Twitter post. If I see a community tournament and someone from that being like, hey, I'm about to go into top 8 in my local tournament in wherever the fuck, and then you tag at Reddit SF, I will very likely retweet that within seconds. Just because I have no reason not to. Like it's so easy, and it's just another thing to see and watch and enjoy and share with the world.
And that's why, and like I said, this is how I came on the show. That's why I decided to DM you about it, because I'm like, well, it's just a little video I made, and I want to get a little bit more eyes on it. So let me ask Joe first if I can, if he'll retweet this or say something about it. And thankfully you did, because now it's blowing up, and I do appreciate it, Joe.
Which is like, honestly, that's like the nice thing. Here's the thing, is that you can just tag me and I'll likely share it. But you do that extra step of saying like, hey, here's what this is. What's up? Like now you and I have a relationship. We have that starting point. And it's not just some rando tagging, like mass tagging a bunch of people on Twitter, which is kind of like a nightmare. Like maybe, maybe don't do that.
That's why I asked. I'm like, let me just DM him before I just mass tag people. Because look, we brought up No Good Citizen earlier, Joe. I'm sorry, but I just I need to admit, that's why I stopped mass tagging No Good Citizen, because I know he hates it. So, but yeah, sometimes doing that extra step to get your communities, out there, it's just, it's good, because then like it leads to smaller opportunities like this one,
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. All right. I think that'll just about do it for the show. Let's roll into the last segment. Which I can't let you go without having you answer this 2-part question, which I think the way that you answer it can really tell a lot about who you are as a person. But first part of the question is, what is your favorite normal attack in any fighting game, and why?
My favorite normal attack, it would probably be, for those who play anime, it would be Gordo's 5B or 5C, depending on if you're playing BB Tag or Under Night. It's just where he just leans over in the scythe, just takes up like half the screen. I love it because, one, it's cheap and used to be cheap in BB Tag, and it's a commanding normal. Like, you have to respect it. You have to give him that much more space, and he can keep you out. Gordo's a kind of rush down every character, but the fact that he has this long-ranging scythe that you can see start up and it leads to big damage, it's just like, oh well, I guess I'll die. If I get hit,
I die now. No, yeah, you bring up a good point. There are some normals in some fighting games where just because they can cover a certain range at any given time, you just have to kind of respect that range and expect it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, with that then, what is your favorite combo in any fighting game?
I don't know. Actually, I do know. So it's the Bushin chain that Guy, Zeku, and Maki have, which is standing light punch, standing medium punch, standing heavy punch, and standing heavy kick, and the variation, which is down hard kicks, where they throw them behind them.
Yeah.
I like that combo because it was because I played Alpha 3 a lot in my youth, and I think it was the first time I actually did like a command like combo like that.
Like a chain
really,
combo like that.
It was really cool. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to keep doing it until I don't care if I miss a whole bunch of stand jabs on crouchers. I don't care.
Fair. No, that's all right. I dig it. There's like history with that too, of it existing across like multiple games and different iterations, and it's that Bushin combo, you know?
Yeah, the Bushin combo. So yeah, bring back Guy and Maki.
Honestly. All right. Well, Ultimate Vitality, thank you for coming on the show. It has been an absolute pleasure. One more time, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at DaRealQuazi, DarealQuazi. You can follow me on Twitch at AL_Ultimate Vitality. By the way, AL is not Al. It just means Arcade Legacy, which is my local scene's arcade. That's what that stands for.
Gotta let the people know the lore. Okay.
Yeah, because people listen like I will like host someone on like Twitch and they're like, Al Ultimate Vitality. I'm like, no, it's AL.
Thanks, Al. Much appreciated, Al.
Yeah. I was like, no, that's not even my name. Stop. But no, it's fine. But also you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Ultimate Vitality. Most of my videos come from Stream Archive, and sometimes they're edited, but it's just I'm really chill about it. Like I don't have like a schedule or nothing. I just it's just very frequent and stuff like that. But
when
yeah,
you can get to it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, if you are in the Ohio area, please feel free to use the Ohio FGC.com website for all your Ohio needs. And last thing, because apparently I'm a part of a lot of stuff. I didn't realize it until I actually started talking like this.
Yeah, now that you're listing it all out, being like, oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys want to support the Midwest, you guys can go to MidwestMovementApparel.com and you can buy the Midwest Movement shirts. You can buy the Big Chillin' shirts, and follow Midwest Movement at Midwest MVMNT.
Awesome. All right, and that will just about do it. Again, folks, I am Joe Monday. You can find me at Super Joe Monday on Twitter.com or at RedditSF, or just hop on our Street Fighter and post there. I will see it. Again, just kind of want to give another reminder that if you're running a tournament or are taking part of a tournament and want to spread the noise a little bit, feel free to tag me in any of that stuff, or just like let me know, hey, this is when I'm doing my tournament. Like mind if you get a little signal boost? Absolutely. Don't mind about that at all. But don't forget about our tournaments on Mondays and Fridays. Mondays on the East Coast, Fridays on the West Coast. And we'll be back again on another edition of RSF Radio every Thursday-ish, I think. The schedule's been a little funky this year because reasons. But other than that, that's a show, folks. Until next time, take care.
Stay vital, everyone.
USA.